Groupers. Pastor Marshall here. Two amazing missionary stories in the 7th chapter of Mark as Jesus goes to the outsiders. Before we get rolling with the story, let's just get you talking. When was a time in life that you struck out, that you didn't succeed at something that really mattered to you? Might be a relationship, might be a job, might have been a project. When was a time that you struck out? Just share a story with each other. Well, I'm going to throw this map up on the screen and let it be there for a few minutes so you can see this path that Jesus took from the Sea of Galilee, the northern edge. You'll see Capernaum, and coming out of that is a blue line that shows Jesus travel north and then west up to Tyre, which is this Gentile city, Greek city on the Mediterranean Sea. Became a very famous port. It had a natural boundary out in the ocean that protected it from ships coming straight at it. Very famous place. And then you'll notice a light purple area that shows Jesus' second journey as he leaves Tyre and goes east and then south and then eventually turns back north to come up to what we today call the West Bank, or the east side of the Sea of Galilee facing west. And so this is where the Decapolis is. Now remember, Barclay believes that Jesus spent 8 months doing ministry on these two lines, the blue line and the purple line. Well, now back to my ugly mug. Why would Jesus' ministry in Gentile lands have shocked the disciples? Is it surprising to you at all? What missionaries today are in areas that shock you? What areas of the world would you be tempted to skip over if you were trying to do missions? Well, what is your impression of the woman in this first story? And be honest, what is your impression of Jesus in this first story? Why will she be happy with just a crumb? And is there something that we could learn from this as followers of Jesus? In the second story, we have 4 different sign languages that Jesus uses to communicate to the man. What are the 4 different sign languages, and what do they mean? Quick edit in my video, I forgot to add a question that I had in my mind. In the second story, Jesus has a deep sigh. How do you interpret Jesus' deep sigh with the deaf-mute man? Now back to our regular scheduled programming. The people in the second story were overwhelmed and amazed, and they said that Jesus had done everything, all things, very well. What areas in your life right now are you tempted to believe that Jesus has not done a good job with? And what would need to change inside of your heart for that attitude that Jesus has done all things well to happen, to become your reality? What would it look like to become more like Jesus in these stories, this missionary Jesus? What would that look like in your life personally? Be very specific. Well, never want to overlook what our application was, and so this week we talked about areas of our life that need bold, humble, persistent faith. Maybe you would share with your group, what are the areas in your life right now that need bold, humble, persistent faith? Well, I hope that you have a great group. Look forward to seeing you next week. We look at the 8th chapter of Mark. God bless.